Hi, fourth level. Well, it's that time of year, our last week of lessons. So, we didn't end the year the way we would want to, in person, doing our in person things, but it's the way it is. And just like all year long and every year, we have to learn to be flexible and go with the flow. So, this particular year and our experiences are coming to an end. Hopefully, next year will be a little more closer to normal. I do expect some changes, but um, yeah, we'll see how it goes. Before we kick off into our summer break, though, we do have one more lesson that we need to do as far as continuing with our charts. And those are pie graphs. They can be called pie charts, circle graphs, pie graphs, circle charts, something like that, all means the same thing. And they are called pie graphs, pie charts, because it's a graph or a chart. It relays data visually, and it is round like a pie or round like a circle. I honestly had really hoped that I would have an actual pie so that I could cut into and do some sort of a demonstration, as well as have a nice little snack for myself, but that didn't work out. Instead, I created some things on the computer for us to take a look at. Now, as you know, with all charts, charts have a title. It tells us a little bit about what information needs to be relayed. This one is pretty easy. Our labels across the bottom, you've got the color red indicating red, the color blue indicating blue, etc., etc. So, how do we get these colors, or why are these colors in these pie piece shapes? Well, very simply. Each pie piece represents a different number of votes for that item. So, for example, if we take a look at the red and compare it to the black, well, red is red, and black is another color that's not listed on here. So, way more people chose red than they did a color that's not on the chart. There's something missing from this chart, but it could be okay. And what's missing is how many people are choosing this. Now, when we had our bar graph, it was okay to have our bar go up, but we needed a line to reference it to. Did it go up to 8? Did it go up to 12? What was that number? Well, a pie chart doesn't have to always give you quantity, because visually you can see however many people answered this question, most people chose blue because it's the biggest. Red looks like it comes in second. Green is third. It looks like purple is fourth. Yellow is fifth. And other, not listed, comes in last place. So it's a very easy way, quick way to relay information without necessarily having to do a lot of reading. Now, sometimes not having labels is a problem. For this particular graph, I don't think it's a problem. I don't necessarily need to know how many people took this survey. But what I can tell you is that this circle represents something important. And this whole complete circle represents all the people answering the question. I'll say that again. The whole complete circle represents all the people answering the question. So it represents 100% of the people surveyed. Now, if you've seen fraction pieces, they look a lot like this. So if the whole thing represents 100% of the people surveyed, that could mean 10 people were asked, 13 people were asked, 74 people were asked, 119 people were asked, 8,412 people were asked. This particular one, it doesn't seem to matter how many people were asked. The results that the person who created this, which was me for an example, but in general, a graph like this, it isn't worried about the numbers. It's trying to convey pictorially, visually, the favorite color choices. So a label isn't necessarily needed. But we can have labels. There's nothing wrong with having labels. Here, I can see that 25% of however many people were surveyed, a fourth, 25% picked red. 34% picked blue. So I'm able to confirm blue is first choice, red is second, green is third, and then it keeps on going down this order by taking a look at the percent. That confirmed what I could visually see just by looking at the sizes of the shapes. Now again, can I tell how many people were surveyed? No. But these percentages all have to add up to 100%. They always have to add to 100% because the whole circle represents everyone asked, everyone surveyed. It represents all possible answers. All possible data that can be on this chart, it needs to add up to a full circle of 100%. So let's say I don't know 3%. Maybe that's a question mark. It says, let's figure it out. How can I figure out what percentage of people picked other? Well, you add 25, 34, 17, 13, 8, and you come up with 97. Well, if all of these together add up to 97, and the whole thing is 100%, 100% minus 87 or 97% is 3%. That's how you can figure it out. Likewise, if this was covered up, and I said, how many people, what's the percentage of people who picked red? Adding all of these up, you'll come up with 75%. Well, if the whole circle is 100%, take away 75% that you do know about, it means that this area right here has to be 25%. So the maker of this chart wanted to take a little bit further step in providing information and give you the percentages, but still didn't feel that you needed to know the total number of people surveyed. The maker of this chart didn't necessarily want to convey the percentages, but rather let you know how many actual people responded. So 15 people chose red, 20 people chose blue, 10 chose green, 8 chose purple, 5 chose yellow, and 2 selected something else. So in this particular chart, if I add all of that up, 100% means 60 people answered this question. How do I know it's 60? Say it out loud. How do I know it's 60 people? No, I mean, really, say it out loud. How do I know it's... I'm listening. All right, some of you have, but some of you are not. Some of you think I really can't hear you. Well, I have my ways. But I know it's 60 because of all of the people who answered. I add that up and I come up with 60. And 60 represents 100% or all of the possible choices. 60 people answered this. So it can be helpful to have your pie pieces colored like I have. It made it pretty easy if the answer choice was red to color it red. But you'll often see pie charts that are not colored, and that's okay too. As long as it has the data on it that lets you understand what it is that the pie chart or circle graph is representing. Color can be a symbol or a tool to convey information. But can it go wrong? Yep. We have a few things wrong with this graph. Now, I'm not going to worry so much about the lack of the labels. We would want to have something better labeled. But take a look closely at this graph, and you'll see it might be difficult to gather information from it. The very first pie chart you saw didn't have any other labels, just like this, on the chart itself, or on the circle part itself, and that was okay. Now, I don't think it's a good idea. Well, one of the first things that you should notice by not having percents listed or quantities listed, it's kind of hard to tell what some of these pie pieces are representing. If I take a look at this pie piece and this pie piece and this, and maybe this, and that, are they the same? Are they different? I can't tell. I'm pretty sure that that's the smallest value, but I don't really know about some of these. So by not having a percent to help with the visual, to help understand the visual, or not having a number to represent what the pie piece represents, some of this information is lost. Some of this information is a bit confusing. And another thing that can be confusing, the colors are not different enough to tell them apart easily. I will tell you, because I created it, there are no duplicate colors. Each color is different and unique, but we've got a couple of blues here that are very hard to tell apart. There's some blues down here, which is a different shade of blue, but they're also hard to tell apart. When you use color to help tell your story, the color needs to be different enough not to confuse your viewer. Your information should be clear and understandable with numbers or a color system. So even though I've got a color code here for whatever the label would be, it doesn't exactly help me because I can't tell what that is, that is, that is. It all looks the same, pretty much. So we have a couple of things wrong with this graph. This one needs data. It needs something to help understand these pieces, and it needs a variety of colors so that the colors are not confused. Another possible problem you could encounter with a circle graph: too many answers, too many choices, too much information. We start to lose the effectiveness of what it's trying to convey if it's just too hard to read. Now, this is not impossible to read. They gave us, fortunately, not only did they label, like this is labeled as California, and it represents 37 million, down to a small sliver of Colorado, which represents 4,900,000. And I don't even know what it is they're talking about. This is just a visual example. Let's see, where is Ohio? Ohio is right here. That blue representing 12 million. So this is not a useless chart. Obviously, it represents the 50 states. I don't know how many states are actually listed because they have there's a group of others that are not individually labeled. So this is one that's not as effective because there are too many pie pieces, too much information, but it is usable because it is labeled. And we can definitely, if the author is trying to compare and show us that all of these states are really have a lot less of whatever these numbers represent than Florida, New York, Texas, and California, well, they succeeded. I don't have to go into a lot of detail to see that these states have the biggest quantity of whatever this is compared to the other states. So it's not totally ineffective, but you do have to be careful not to overwhelm the person that you're trying to convey your information to with a chart that is too confusing. The work that I've created for you isn't too confusing. There are some charts, pie graphs, circle charts, however you want to call them, on Google Classroom. Open up the PDF, take a look at the charts. I believe there are 1, 2, 3, 4. I think there's 4 of them. Maybe a fifth, but I think there's only 4. Take a look at them. See what you can do to understand them. Answer some questions. There's only 20 questions. And that's it. That's it as far as the new assignments for this school year for math. Now, you'll see that there are other requirements, one being watching this video, which, check it off, you're done. But the other part is to go back and complete any work that you are missing or behind in. We have a whole bunch of IXL work that people are behind in. A lot of math work that is not submitted from previous weeks. Time is running out on that. Please make sure to, because we're not giving you extra choice work, which isn't optional, it's required, but you get to choose what required work you actually want to do. But we're not giving you any new stuff this week. The 20 questions on pie graphs, circle charts, that's it for this week's math work. Other than that, wrap up whatever it is you need to wrap up. We've got some fun things coming up in classroom meetings this week and next week. Hopefully everyone can join us in the parking lot and we can officially wave goodbye to each other through the car windows. If you're not sure what I'm talking about, take a look at emails, talk to your parents. Information has gone out about meeting at Westside next Friday morning to say goodbye to our our sixth level students through a parade through Carline, just waving through the car windows, saying goodbye to your teachers from a distance. And it's one more chance to see us one more time before we officially let go of this 2019 to 2020 school year. Have any questions, please make sure to email Fran or I. There are no Zoom meetings this week for math, so you'll have to reach out to us if any of this is confusing. I really tried to make the questions something that you can think about, but not too difficult. But if you do have questions, make sure to let us know. So, hey guys, thanks for a good school year. We're going to miss you over the summer. Feel free to keep in touch, but we're not really going to answer a whole lot of math questions. And what next year's is going to look like, we don't know that either. So you'll know as soon as we know, but nobody really knows yet. So we'll all learn it together. We'll all figure it out together. The thing that should be on your priority list after finishing off this week is have a great and relaxing summer, and hope to see you all some other time soon. Bye, guys. Thanks.